So my business does around $150,000 per month quite consistently, and I do all of that with just one single full-time employee. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do this, the full breakdown of my ads, how we're providing a profitable return on the front end, how we're sending people into a high ticket offer on the back end, why I made the decision to switch my business model to this, how I structure my offer and my delivery to make sure that I don't exceed 1 to maybe 2 employees at this level of scale, keep extremely lean margins, and do the opposite of what most people that are running consulting or coaching business typically do. So first things first, most people when they're running a business, the typical offer that they're going to go for is a standard coaching / consulting offer. These are, I would say, the 3 most common offers that people typically go for. It's either some form of one-on-one coaching, it's some form of group coaching, or they label it as consulting, and in actual fact, that's pretty much basically just coaching anyway. Now, the reason they do this is because, typically speaking, at low scale, between $20,000 to $50,000 a month, you can operate that entirely on your own, just from your personal brand, and you can be sitting at like 95% net margins. Now, I used to do exactly the same thing. I used to do coaching on TikTok Shop, and I was doing around $20,000 to $30,000 per month quite consistently for the best part of 2 years. And my problem is I wanted to scale the business, get to $100,000 per month, and I wanted to keep that 90% profit margin. So I was doing around $20,000 to $30,000 a month, and it was pretty good. But if you want to scale, the thing that typically happens with any form of coaching offer is as soon as you start pushing any form of scale, you need to start hiring team members. And so the first thing you'll need is some form of head of content, or someone to help you edit, or someone to help you film content, or even a media buyer, depending on the traffic source that you're going after. And so most people at this point will start to hire some form of paid ads experts, or they'll hire someone to help them film their ads. Then the next thing that you typically need at a certain point of scale is you're going to need to start hiring sales closers. Now, this is important because most people sell some form of high ticket offer, 3K, 5K, even 10K. I've even got friends that are selling $15,000 offers. At that point, you're going to need setters. You'll need some form of person to help deliver the service. So you'll need some form of head coach that's actually leading the calls, unless you're going to be the one that's doing all the calls. And then you're going to need some form of account manager that's there for the personal day-to-day stuff, all of your clients, and any form of like VAs to handle, simple messages, queries, posting content for you, just small pieces of like work that realistically you don't want to be doing yourself, while you sit at the top of this funnel and you're the one that's kind of overseeing and operating everything. You're the head in front of the camera, and then you're the guy that's making sure that like the whole system is operating correctly. And so if you want to scale upwards of like $100,000 a month or more and break through that threshold, and you want to get away from being the guy that's always delivering all the coaching calls, this is the typical structure that you're going to have to build inside your business. And so all I did is I sat down one day and I spoke to a friend of mine. I said, how am I going to scale my business from doing $20,000 to $30,000 a month, get this to $50,000, $100,000 a month? And every single person consistently, time and time again, told me to do exactly what I'm showing you here. Increase your sales price. So I was selling for about $300, $400. I was selling basically like a really low ticket school community. They said, hire salespeople, start doing high ticket sales calls, do coaching, $3,000, $4,000 offers, and start building out a high ticket coaching offer like we see here. And then I listed out all the things that I like about the business and the things that I hate about it. And I recommend every single person does this so they make sure they don't fall into the same trap. The first thing that I liked was when I was doing coaching for my personal brand, it's super high profit margins. I liked posting content at the time, and obviously making money was basically the bonus from doing all those things. The one thing that I then did is I listed out all the things that I hate. I absolutely fucking hated doing coaching calls. The reason why is because the people that I was speaking to, I was having to say the same shit over and over and over and over again. Like, what you don't understand is when you start doing coaching is every single customer that comes through basically has exactly the same problem. And you can say how to solve that problem in a group environment to every single person, but people want to hear it for their specific situation. So you end up repeating yourself over and over and over again, and it gets really monotonous and very boring. If I wanted to scale it, I'm going to have to start managing a really huge team. I'm not the best manager. It's one of my weakest parts in the business. And so I don't like doing that, especially when it's any form of remote work. If I have an office, which I do in central London here, but I have employees in the office, I reckon that would be fine. But it's just managing a remote team. I fucking hate doing it. Also, one thing I will just never, ever, ever do is sit on Zoom calls 24/7. And so then I started to unpack this and say, is this high ticket coaching offer really what I want to be doing? And long story short, I came to the conclusion that this whole thing is structured in a way that everyone just copies, but no one really kind of critiques it and works out a better way of doing things. And so I quickly did the math. I said, what's the kind of business that I want to run? And I basically concluded, number one, is I needed some form of automated service delivery because I wasn't going to be the one that sat on Zoom calls every single day. So that was the first thing that I needed. The second thing is I needed some form of automated sales system because I hated sitting on sales calls 24/7 80 to 90% of the people that I speak to are vastly unqualified. They're never going to buy my product, and it's just wasting my time, and I can't go out and do stuff. So that financial and time freedom just disappears out the window, or I've got to pay a salesperson to do it. And as soon as I scale to a cold audience, they're going to blame the lead quality. And I fucking hate salespeople that just blame everything on the lead quality and just don't take responsibility. And so I needed to basically build a system that had some form of automated sales system where I didn't have to have a full team of people taking calls and dialing, and it felt so antiquated for me. The next thing is I really didn't want to be sat in front of the camera every single day. I love making content like this, but sat there making 10 pieces of content a day, just talking to the camera, coming up with the ideas, and just becoming what I called a glorified cam girl at that point, and just shilling my class that I was selling my product to. It just wasn't resonating with me at all. And ultimately, I needed to find a way that I could ascend people and sell them into a higher ticket product in the back end where my delivery was still somewhat automated. And so this is how I developed my new model. And to be honest with you, this is not something I would say is super beginner friendly. We're doing over $150,000 a month. So if you're doing 20 to 30K a month with your coaching business, I recommend maybe thinking about doing this for yourself. But honestly, if you're a complete beginner, this is going to be a little bit too advanced for you. And one final thing that I forgot to mention that I really wanted to focus on was building some form of recurring revenue. One thing that I hate about high ticket is you could do like 300K one month, and then the next month you literally go back straight down to zero, and then you've got to slowly work your way back up to doing 300K, back to zero, work your way back up, do 300K. And so you're always finding new customers every single month to be able to hit the revenue targets that you want. And this is such a churn and burn business model that I fucking hate it. And so I wanted to build something that can get me some form of recurring revenue. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting a lot closer to what I think is the most desirable level of business. And so this is what I did. When it came to kind of like automating my service delivery and my sales system, is I simply said, number one, I'm going to do automated webinars. Now, at the time, and still to this day, literally every single person, and I'll show you kind of here roughly what everyone else is doing. Every single person is doing live webinars. Maybe they'll do them once a month through paid traffic, or if they're doing it to their, maybe once a week through paid traffic, but if they're doing it to their audience, they're doing it once a month. The problem that I didn't like with live webinars is I tried doing these and they do work really well, but you still have to be live on the webinar. And if you haven't already, go and watch this video here, how I built $1 million automated webinar. This one talks about the biggest problems that I find with live webinars and why I pivoted to automated webinars. No one, like literally no fucking person on planet Earth right now is doing automated webinars. We're making more money from me never having to do the webinar consistently than me having to turn up every single time. And the traditional thing that everyone says is do a live webinar because you'll get a higher conversion rate because you're there on the call. And while that's true, you will convert more people. You're typically getting 4 times less people on the webinar because you're doing it in a week's time and people just don't fucking turn up. With an automated webinar, we get a 100% show up rate. Literally every single person who registers to our webinar, they'll just turn up immediately. There's no like delay or anything. They go straight into the live room and they're on the class and they're learning shit. And so we are able to sell to a vastly higher proportion of our audience than most people who are running live webinars. And so if you're interested in how I run my automated webinars, go ahead and watch this video. It's by far and away the best video that I filmed around how I run automated webinars. The next thing that I then decided to do was sell some form of software product. Now, we have a really cool software, and like over the years, like over the last 12 months, we've developed this into an even better piece of like software. But when I bought this was fucking terrible. I bought the software company from someone else. We bought the code base for like $700-800. We started selling it, and then we've improved over time. And I hire a developer, and that is who my full-time employee is. I have one full-time employee, and that is a developer to maintain and manage this software product. I pay him like $2,500-3,000 a month. It's not the best software in the world, but it's about the same as our competitors. We're not going to compete with YC or venture capital-backed businesses. But what we are doing is we're able to compete with you info guys, coaches, consultants, and compete on a much better level playing field because I can give away all the shit that you sell for free because we're able to deliver a software product. It is not an easy business model to get into. This is why I'm saying it's not beginner friendly. There is a lot of upfront capital if you want to build a software product. You can vibe code something, but trust me, I went through the process of trying to sell my business for $1.5 million. I pulled out the deal at the last minute. And I can guarantee you, if your plan is to build a software company and exit, if it is vibe coded, no one is going to buy it. It is a waste of your fucking time. You can verify something, validate it with like an MVP. Then I would pay a proper development team to build it out from scratch properly to make sure it's 100% secure and safe. And that's what we've done with my software product. So we're delivering a software product. Now, the advantage of doing a software product that most people like don't do, right? So everyone over here who's selling some form of product, they're doing some form of coaching, right? Maybe this is one-to-many or it's one-to-one. The problem with this is you're limited by time, right? And if you want to upsell people, you have to sell them either more information or more access. Those are the only 2 ways of being able to increase your prices. And so when you're selling some form of coaching, right, typically what happens is if you're selling something here around the, between 0 to maybe 1K, right? You can deliver that with a course or something. There's pretty much no delivery for you. Maybe there's a tiny bit of outlay of time that you have to put into this, right? You're not making that much money at all. You're making a decent amount of money, right? But the time that's taken for you to do anything is marginal. Maybe it's somewhere around about here, right? You're delivering some form of course or maybe some form of school community. It's really not that much time at all. When you start hitting that bracket where you're charging something like 1K to 3K, right? The amount of time that you're spending to deliver that service dramatically starts increasing, because now what happens is you are going to have to be the one that's either running some form of group coaching, you're going to be the one that's running some form of like service delivery, you're going to be the one that's typically speaking going to be on the sales calls. And so the amount of time that you're spending per day is going to suddenly have an incremental increase. It's going to increase quite significantly here. Then it dramatically jumps up. So if you're in that, and we're talking more B2C at this point, you can kind of just add an extra few grand for a B2B market. But typically speaking, if you're running some form of consulting offer and you're doing 5K to 10K at this point, this is typically your higher ticket offer, then the time that you spend with those customers is going to dramatically increase again, right? Let me just do this. It's probably going to increase maybe to like, I can't even draw graphs, but it's going to dramatically increase again. And then you're going to have probably your highest ticket thing, which is maybe a 20K offer, right? And the time that you're spending with your clients increases again. And it just goes bang, right? You're having this increase in the amount of time that you have to spend with each one of your clients. Whereas, right, if you have a software product, it's the complete opposite. You have one product that you sell. And the reason why this increases here, right, is because you're either giving people more of your time or you're giving them more access. So they can contact you at any time of the day. They can either have your phone number or speak to you directly, or they can speak to your team at a lower level of scale, right? Or they can fly out to you in person and speak to you in person. If you're running a software product, the amount of time that you spend delivering the service to your customers stays pretty much equal, right? What typically happens is your business can just go like this. The amount of time that you spend on something doesn't change the more you charge for that product, because all you're doing is you're giving them more of the same thing that they purchased. And so for us, we operate on a credit-based system, so people get a certain number of credits per month. And so all we need to do is charge them more money to get more credits to use more of our software. That doesn't take any more time out of my day at all. If anything, it probably sits closer to like zero. It's pretty much zero deliverability at all. And we can charge upwards of like $3,000, $5,000 a year for a software product. We might be able to provide something on the back end to be able to tack that value up a little bit higher, but we can provide access to the software without changing any amount of time that I have to spend in the day. And obviously this is what makes software products so valuable when you're going to exit them. This is why they demand a higher multiple, because of this graph. But with that being said, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. Because if you're selling a high ticket software product, a subscription to a service for like $3,000 a year, like we're currently trying to do at the moment, what you realize is most people are not used to paying that amount of money just for a software. So you typically have to add some form of service or some form of product on the back end of your high ticket to be able to deliver a high value of a service, to be able to demand that price that you're charging. Now, the next thing that I investigated doing, and we are currently running right now, is paid ads, right? And so most people rely on organic to be able to get their customers. Now, we do organic and we do paid. We need to actually increase our organic now because paid is by far exceeding the amount of revenue that we're generating from organic. But cracking paid ads unlocks true scale for your business. For reference, we're testing this new campaign here. It's just a slightly new offer. You can see so far in the last couple of days, we're only spent about $200 a day on this campaign, but we spent $500 on this campaign. It's already brought in a 4 times return on ad spend, $1,800, and that is just software subscriptions. And this is the other side of it, right? Which is everything that we do is recurring. And so every single payment that actually comes into the business, every single sale here, that $1,800 is a yearly subscription. And so we rebill every single customer in the next 12 months as well. We get like a 40% rebill rate. It's like an effective 6% monthly churn. And so every time we've collected about $800 or nearly $1 million in revenue in the first 12 months, that means that we're not starting from zero. We're starting from $1 million that we can basically go through and rebuild. And we'll rebuild maybe $300,000, $400,000 of that. And so we're not starting from zero. So unlike you guys, where you're doing coaching and consulting, you're always trying to increase year upon year upon year. We're maintaining or retaining customers, and we're just stacking and stacking and stacking more on the top of it, and then making our product and service better every single year. And so being able to do paid ads and get a true cold audience that have never seen or heard from you before to buy from you profitably, and then to send them into a higher ticket and get them on yearly recurring, it's an absolute cracked model, and it means you can hit pretty much infinite scale. And so paid ads are a great method for our business. The next thing is automated webinars. And this is where most people fuck up, right? Most people, right, and again, I'm not going to repeat everything that I said in the previous video. Go ahead and watch these 2 videos here that talk about the differences between sales teams and webinars, live webinars and automated webinars, because I'm not going to repeat it. But essentially, what I'm kind of looking at is most people will spend money on ads, they'll hemorrhage cash, they'll book calls, and then they'll realize that most people that book a call are super low quality. And so this is a text from a good friend of mine who's running paid ads to a $15,000 coaching offer to a cold audience. And he's used to inbound leads, doing sales calls himself, all from organic. And he's literally saying that people that come from cold traffic have no fucking clue who he is. They turn up to call, they've got no idea why they even booked a call, and it's blowing his mind. He's completely confused about how this is even happening and how you can even operate a business on cold. And so the way that I built my business is I need to be able to build it in a way that it can acquire customers on cold traffic first rather than organic. And what most people do, the biggest mistake that they will make is they will build an organic marketing system like this. They'll be posting YouTube videos or they'll be posting Instagram content. They'll be acquiring customers for free. It'll be lay down closes. They'll be getting a 40 to 50% close rate. They'll think that they're the mutt's nuts when it comes to business. They think they can close any fucking deal that comes their way. Then as soon as they start running paid ads, they realize they get a very strong reality check and they realize that these leads are cold as shit. They don't care who you are. They don't want to buy from you. They have no idea who you are and they're never going to purchase. And then they start throwing their toys out the pram. And so for me, when I built a business, it was if I'm going to scale to any level of like volume, $300, $400, $500,000 a month, I need to crack cold paid traffic. And the way of me doing that is through automated webinars to be able to get a purchase. And so when I book sales calls, I'm not speaking to just random fucking leads. I'm speaking to people that have actually handed over their card information and bought a product from me. And so that's what we're doing right now. We will run traffic to an automated webinar. They'll buy a $350 product, which is a yearly subscription to our software. We'll book them into an onboarding call. We'll then speak to them, deliver that service straight away, get them a really quick win, book them into a sales call, and then upsell them onto a $3,000 ticket on the back end. And so this is what that ends up looking like. A customer will come in, buy a $350 or £298 product, then we'll book them into a call, and then literally the day after they've purchased that, we can sell them a high ticket product, and you can see we convert them into a $3,500 product. And this means that we're profitable on acquiring the sale at the front end. So this sale here is profitable. So we're not losing money on this first acquisition. This one here right now is sitting that, right? This $300, fucking hell. This one, I need to get a fucking stylus. This at the moment is about a it's actually about a 3.7x on ads. And so for every dollar that we spend, we're making back $3.70 on our first order. Then what happens is we then ascend them into this, and then we're making sales on the back end as well. And so we're like fucking uber profitable when we're running this model, because every time we speak to someone, we get them onto a sales call, they've already given us money, we've already delivered the product, they've already got a great results, an instant result from that product, they're happy with the service, they've sat through a 1.5 hour webinar, they've sat through an hour onboarding, then they've sat through an hour sales call. And so they're fucking hot by that point. They've already trusted us with their money, we already have their card on file, and so now we can build them a $3,500 product with no trouble at all. And all of that starts because we're running ads to an automated webinar funnel right now. Next thing that we do is we then, like I say, we send them to an onboarding call, then we go into a sales call, and then we go into a $3,000 a year product. If you want more detail about how I run these calls, and we can go through some call recordings, I'm happy to do that. But essentially what happens is our webinar sells the first opportunity, all right? And so the way that I look at things is every single time you're trying to deliver a product, there is always different, look at it like they're rungs on a ladder. And so when your target market comes to you for the first time, typically speaking, they're down here, right? They haven't achieved anything. They're sat down here. They're not happy with their results. And if we imagine that like along this axis, this is time, like going this way, then what basically happens is they join, they first come to reach you, right? They have this first problem, right? This is problem number one, which is for most, it depends which market you're in, but it could be something like, okay, we're not getting enough leads, all right? Then you could solve that problem, but then what you do is there's a second problem after that. Then there's going to be a third problem. There's going to be a fourth problem. There's going to be a fifth problem. It's going to go up and up and up and up, and you're never really going to be able to deliver and solve all problems. And so what you want to do is when you structure a funnel like this ascension funnel that we're running, is you basically want to look at it and say, okay, let's say, for example, we're running a B2B offer. We're speaking to business owners. The first thing they're going to struggle with is leads. And so here, we can solve that problem and say, right, you've been sat here for ages. You haven't been able to solve your problem. We'll solve it. Buy our product and we'll solve it. They break past that. Right? They've solved that problem. and you're selling them something like an instant ad swipe file. It's like, run this paid ad or this VSL that we've built for you, and you'll be able to get way more leads into your funnel. Or take this swipe file or this funnel that we've built, copy and paste into your Go High Level account and run that. That solves that problem. Then once they've done that, they're going to realize that actually those leads that are coming through, they're not booking onto their calendar, or they're not showing up to the call. And so then they've got a second problem, which they didn't have beforehand. And so then what you can do is you can just send them into that, and you can say, well, actually, now you've got this second problem, buy this other product that we've got that's actually our booking system. This will take a booking rate from 60% to 100%, and you'll share it from 10% to 80%, right? And so now everyone's booking into their calendar, and then they realize that they have a third problem, which is none of these fuckers are actually buying their product. And then you sell them our sales coaching, all right? Or your sales placement offer. And you say, we can actually get you a salesperson and place them straight into your business to close all your deals. And so maybe what happens is this here at the bottom this is like a $100 product. Then you sell them a $1,000 product, then a $3K product, then a $15K product. And you just increase the price because you are sending people through the funnel and you're making them realize that you've solved one problem for them, but you can help them solve the next. And if you can condense the time that you solve these problems and you do it quickly and you get them a result fast, then you can typically ascend them through this ladder way faster than anybody else. The other thing is, because we are acquiring customers on the front end profitably, all right, so we're not spending money out the gate and waiting ages until sales come in. We have time. And so this is the biggest thing. Time is the one where you can build a relationship with all of your leads and all of your customers. And so what most people typically have to do is, because they're running a booked call funnel and they're spending $1,000 or $700 for every booked call that comes into their calendar, maybe they've dropped $3,000 on ads and they're trying to close a $15,000 deal. You don't have time to warm up that lead and spend weeks talking to them and getting them results and helping them and building that relationship to get them to a warm customer before you have the chance to sell them a $15,000 product. You need to fucking close that lead straight away, which forces you into this box of you have to do things a certain way. You have to just book calls and try and do a one call close, and you're just only closing the 2% of the market that are ready to buy at any point. And so when you run something like this, where you liquidate the ad spend on the front end, you sell a product and you're profitable on the front end, we don't have to sell these people for a week if we don't need to. Like, I can go through 3 calls with these people and close them eventually if I want to, because I'm already profitable on the front end. And so anything after that point is just a happy to have, a nice to have, and just drop straight to the bottom line. And so that's why selling something before you book a call is way better, because you're also speaking to qualified people. These people have actually given you money. You can see the difference, right? If someone's given me $350 and they've got the result and they've got the thing that they paid for straight away and they're happy with that result, they're way more likely to then part with an extra $3,000, because their proof there is, well, hang on, if I got the product that I wanted, my perceived likelihood of achievement drops through the roof, because now I'm like, this guy actually gave me what I fucking wanted. And then the final thing is the actual offer. And so what we do is we have a software product. So we will ascend them from $0 to $1,000. This is our first software product. Then we'll say, look, we also have a marketplace. Now for our software, we do like AI UGC content. And so what we can have is we can have UGC creators, but we also have brands that are looking for UGC creators. And so we can say, look, if you upgrade your software subscription from the $300 a year to the $3,000 a year subscription, become a business client of ours, you can unlock the marketplace where you can actually speak with brands and get brand deals and be able to sell your UGC directly to the brands. And so then we have the B2B arm, which is, if you're a brand owner and you want AI UGC content but you can't be asked to make it yourself, we have thousands of people that are making it for you. Become a business customer of ours and you can unlock that marketplace. So you start building this placement offer, and because that's all built into the software, our delivery time is still 0. Whereas the traditional thing is, oh, fucking hell, we're selling something, let's just upsell coaching. We tried that, and to be honest with you, 99% of people don't want to buy coaching, they want to buy the outcome. Like, if you think about the ultimate problem that they have, right, if they're trying to get from a transition, they're trying to get that transformation from, let's say it's this ad guy who's trying to make sales from his Facebook ads, right? He's not getting enough leads. And so that's his first minute problem, is get more leads. Then he's not booking enough calls. Then he's not getting high enough share rate. Then he's not closing enough deals. The reason he has all these problems is because he has an outcome he wants to get to, which is he wants to sign 20 new clients every single month. And so if he came on and you just said to him, look, how about this? Rather than me coaching you and working with you one-on-one for 6 months until you get to 20 clients a month, what if I do all the hard work and I get you the 20 clients and you just pay me now, and I guarantee that I'll place you with 20 new clients every single month. I'll do the work for you. You just sit there, pay me 50 grand, and I'll get you those 20 clients every single month. That is a way more attractive offer, because you're delivering the outcome that they ultimately want. And that's why we're building our offer in that way, rather than doing any coaching, because the coaching is essentially a roundabout long route to get to where they want to go. It's really hard to sell coaching because people are like, I don't want to sit on Zoom calls with you. And the only way to package coaching, most people do, is they'll build the value by stacking the amount of time and effort and amount of process that they have to go through to get the result. In reality, that's ruining your offer, because what's happening is now thinking, well, hang on, I've got to go to 3 fucking group calls a week. I've got to text this guy 24/7. I've got to get on one-on-one calls. I've got to sit through this bullshit for 6 months. I've got to watch the entire course content to be able to fucking get any chance of receiving the result. And so you're building up the value by stacking these things, but in reality, in their head, it's saying, well, hang on, now I've got to go through a million different steps before I get to the outcome. Whereas with a placement offer, a marketplace that we've got inside our software, and this is a much harder offer to build, but it's way more attractive, because what I'm doing is I'm going to them and I'm saying, look, you've got the software, you've been onboarded, you know how to use it. Now we get you onto the sales call, and it's like, ultimately you're here because you want to make money with your AI content. And so what if we just place you with one of our brands? We've got loads of them that are looking for AI creators like you. Upgrade to our business plan, unlock it, and you can speak directly to the brands. And so if you're interested to see our stats of the funnel, let me just break this down right now so you can kind of see roughly how this is working. So on this, I'll just go in the last couple of days. This one we're only spending $200 a day on. We don't need, and the thing is, because we're doing high ticket ascension on the back end, we don't need to spend as much. So we used to spend like nearly 100 grand a month on ads. We don't have to do that so much anymore. So we're spending $500 here. We're getting $125 CPM. Our CPMs were in quite an expensive niche, so it's a little bit expensive for us. Cost per purchase is around $80 for a $340 product. And we also have an upsell opportunity where they can take different products and stuff. So it's pretty decent AOV. 6.2% click-through rate. We're getting a $2 on average cost per click. Some of our ads are doing pretty well. We're getting like $1.60 cost per click, $1.50 over here, which is much nicer. So I'm much happy with that. And then we're looking at we track landing page views, see if there's any drop off as well. We then run it through to our webinar. We get a lot of registrations for about $4 to $5 registration cost. And then we get about a $10 cost per initiate checkout. And then obviously people go through and purchase. We've made 6 sales out of 3.7 times return on ad spend. And so that's roughly how it's working. So we're getting 100% of people showing up to our webinar. This is the engagement rate on our webinar. So literally everyone turns up. It's gradually drops down. It's an automated webinar. So it's an hour and a half long, 37 minutes. 30 minutes is the average time on there. 7% of people watch the full thing. This here is where the offer comes in. So you can see a bit of a drop off. And then what we do is we then book them all to an onboarding call. And so I've got a call today and a call on Monday from 2 customers that bought last night. But we get pretty much now with this onboarding structure, we get 100% of people coming through and booking on their call. And so I'm basically saying that this is a group, this isn't a group call, it's a private one-on-one call to help you succeed. You get on the call and we'll take you through everything. Make sure you get in, make sure you get all the bonuses and stuff. And I say, if you don't book your onboarding call, you're not going to be able to get access to everything that you've paid for. So please make sure you book your onboarding call after you join. This is what it's going to look like on the thank you page. And then this is what the thank you page looks like. Then booking a call, that gets in the calendar. So we're getting 100% through rate. So 100% of our customers that buy the product book an onboarding call. And then on that onboarding call, we basically just get them set up with the software, get them logged in, get them an immediate result, get them happy, deliver all the products to them straight away so they get everything that they want. Then at the end of that call, we transition. We're basically saying at the end of that call, listen, at the end of these calls, we also do we do a what we call like a goal setting call. So on that goal setting call, we basically work out what your problems are, the revenue number that you want to hit. We'll build you a custom 90-day road plan of how you can get there. And then we talk to them about the placement offer. So we'll say on that call, we'll talk to you about how we can guarantee you a placement offer. That will be a paid opportunity, but there are other ways you can do this if you don't want to pay. If you're interested, that is also included. You've already paid for that call. It's included with your purchase. Let's go ahead and book that in now. And so then we'll get 100% through rate onto that. And so 100% of our customers then watch our webinar for about an hour and a half. 100% of them will have an hour onboarding. And then 100% of them will then turn up into the goal setting call, which gives us a much higher close rate when we get to the point where we're actually selling them our offer. And so that's basically how we're running this offer right now. We've just started this and it's absolutely ripping for us. So I'm super happy and excited with how this is working. But if you're a coach or a consultant doing 20 to 30K a month, recommend doing this. If you have any questions and you want help with anything, just let me know. I've got nothing to tell you guys right now. Just drop down below in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions.